Hello, welcome to the new Super Review here on TAF TV. Today is the 26th day in the month of May 2023. And it's a Friday, a very beautiful Friday, even though it's beginning to look like it's going to rain here in Port Harcourt. But then we know we're in the season and we expect the rains to always pour in. Well, on today's program, we have very interesting headlines coming to you within the last 24 hours, and would love you to be a part of this by dropping your comments and the reactions on the comment section, because that's what we do here. We get to talk about these headlines and analyze them, and would love you to also drop your thoughts as regards these headlines. And to do these headlines with me this morning is Victor Sioko. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's good to have you on the program as always. And to you, our viewers, don't forget that you can also connect with us on all our platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and of course on Twitter. Stay connected to us so you always know whenever we drop new episodes of our interesting programs we have lined up for you here on TAF TV. Let's see what the headlines within the last 24 hours look like. And this time we're going to begin with a breaking news. Yes. Something has happened this morning. Something that has put a lot of Nigerians on high expectation. Those ones that believe that the elections didn't favor them and that they are hoping that the inaugurations were not going to take place. Something has happened, and that is going to change everything for them. And that is the Supreme Court has dismissed PDP suit challenging double nomination of Shettima. A lot of Nigerians were hoping that that is going to change everything for the APC, and it's going to usher in a new or a different, few months of getting a new leader or re-election or something. But that's not happening. Let me read a bit of the some excerpt from that news. It says, Supreme Court dismisses PDP suit challenging double nomination of Shettima. A sum of 2 million naira was awarded against the PDP, even as the suit was dismissed for lacking in merit. The Supreme Court, the Apex Court on Friday agreed with the lower courts that the PDP lacks the locus standi to institute such a case. Justice Adamu Jairo, who read the judgment, noted that the PDP acted as middlesome and interloper and is busybody, as it is an internal affair of the APC. A sum of 2 million naira was awarded against the PDP, even as the suit was dismissed for lacking in merit. The justice further held that the attitude of the appellant, the PDP, amounts to misleading the court, describing the move as sad. Very interesting story right there. Well, Victor, I'd like to ask you, what do you make of this ruling by the Supreme Court?
When judgments like this are made, you try to be very, very careful in your utterances, okay? But personally, we've seen instances where the Supreme Court delivered judgment and Nigerians get to show their, disappointment, okay? We cannot, it's too early for us to forget about the Ahmad Lawan case.
Yeah.
One might say that it is the Supreme Court. Yeah, we give them all their respect, okay? But yes, one can also hinge on the fact that they are not perfect beings, okay? But there is something strange about this case. Right from the Federal High Court, you will see levels of disassociation from our judges. They do not want to make clear judgment about this. I would say that even the Supreme Court had the impetus to put in some words in their judgment, okay? And those words are like, or were like, the PDP were not supposed to have taken this matter to court. But you now ask the question, the PDP are saying that Shettima violated the Electoral Act. If the party that you are telling now that, okay, it is the party, that the party are the ones going to, that are supposed to be the ones going to, that are supposed to be the ones to challenge this matter in court, what if the party say that they are not going to challenge it, but the actual view is that, see, these people have violated the Electoral Act.
Yeah.
That is the regulation. It has violated the regulation. Are you getting me? Yeah. This is not like do we have this time? But this is not like a football team having their issue and another club coming to interfere in their issue. This this is a general rule that is guiding everybody. This is not a player fighting its own player or his own teammate or disrespecting his coach. This is a general issue. Well, one will say, who am I?
Oh, well, but at the end of the day, the court has made it look like the PDP wasted the time of the court, and so they are fining them with a fine of 2 million naira and all of that, that they shouldn't have really meddled in the affairs of the APC in the first place, that this matter is an internal matter. And that is where a lot of people are like, what is the court really saying? But for Christ's sake, it is the Supreme Court. It is
Yeah,
the Supreme Court.
and that's why we should give them their respect,
Yes.
okay? But from the other angle too, you'd be like, what is happening?
What is really going on?
What is really going on?
Let's not also forget that the electoral tribunal is still on, and if the Supreme Court has already started making rulings like this, that is creating a lot of question, people are beginning to wonder how they arrived at this point, then as people still going to have enough confidence in the electoral tribunal that is still ongoing. Let's also remember that by Monday we'll have a new government in person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his vice Shetima, which are going to also be in full charge of both the judicial system and every other agencies within the country. Are we still hoping that something reasonable is going to come out of that tribunal?
That is where the fears now come, because for me personally, I think this is a more clear case than the others.
Yes,
personally, okay. So when you now ask that question now, see, it is quite strange that in a case like this, that it is a bit clear.
Yeah.
This man had double nomination. You are not telling us, or you are not telling you are telling Nigerians that the PDP are not the ones that is supposed to go to court about this matter. That is the party. The same party that nominated him as Senate and also nominated him as vice presidential candidate. So you are not telling them that they are the ones to take him to court.
If they didn't see anything wrong in doing those double nominations, is he taking him to court that will make sense to them? So, it's a very serious matter.
Two things that we hold before this judgment. Okay, mind you, before I get into the two things, mind you, beforehand, one of the judges in this matter, there was a circular or a publication on Twitter that I saw that she has a son in the APC that contested for State House of Assembly in Ondo State and won. So State Assembly elect happens to be her son and from the APC. So some persons were like, see, if you have such a judge that has ties with the APC, or the son has ties with the APC, why don't you, as a judge, take yourself out of the case? In court, they call it a recuse. Take yourself out of the case because you are, in one way or the other, you have a relationship
some
with
kind of sentiment,
this team.
yeah.
There could be elements of sentiment. So, yeah, some persons will now come out. Watch out what we have on the social space. Yeah, some person will come out. Two things, like I said. One part will be like, oh, we said it, we won this case. That's for the followers of the APC followers. Yeah. Why others will be like, oh, come to think of it, the Supreme Court cannot be trusted. After all, judges there are plenty cases about judges collecting monies. Maybe they've collected this money. And maybe, somebody also said, but these are not facts. Somebody also said, maybe these monies that the federal government have been collecting this period or be approving this period. Maybe part of them is to settle
the cases in court.
But these are not they are not concrete. But at the end of the day, we need it's clear. It's clear and glaring that the judicial system for the past 8 years or thereabout has not really given people that hope.
The hope, yeah.
Okay.
They've not really helped Nigerians to trust them.
There are many things. See, aside this case, maybe if we go in and talk more. Aside this case, there are other cases lined up that when you look at it, you be like, what the heck is happening to this country?
Yeah.
what is happening with our
1
court
minute,
system, what is happening with our leaders.
yeah, 1 minute you're seeing that this is a clear win, and then another minute you're seeing that the thing has started working against the party that was meant to win.
And
so,
see, remember the last time you and I went to the EFCC, we heard what they were saying.
Yeah.
That some judges are not
Government
helping
interference,
matters.
yes.
They mentioned judges. Some judges are not helping matters. And oh, come on.
yeah, it's a serious matter. But then let's move on to the headlines for today. The other headlines, and this time we'll go to Daily Times newspaper, the Daily Times newspaper. And on the Daily Times, we have as headline here, Southern Middle Belt leaders meet, decry worsening security situation in region. We also see as headline here, May 29th inauguration, Buhari hands over baton of service to Tinubu, declares he ran a good race, finished his course. You failed on all fronts, headers tell president. Buhari hands over baton of service to Tinubu, declares he ran a good race, finished his course. You failed on all fronts, headers tell president. Election Tribunal, CJN swears in 39 judges, tax them on rule of law, constitution. We also see as headline here, Ghanaian speaker takes over from Gbajabiamila as COSAP leader, promises to mentor African youths on legislative oversight. Again, House Committee grills Malami over $2.4 billion alleged crude oil loss. All right, I'll come to you. And let's take on the story of May 29th inauguration. Well, it is very clear that that date is sacrosanct and the inauguration must take place. What's your take generally as regards plans, arrangement, and what you think will happen? Because activities leading on to the inauguration has already begun. We saw just yesterday the president, handing over the highest awards in the land to President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the Vice President Shetima. So what's your take generally on all these arrangements?
If you can spare me just 2 minutes before we get into this discussion. You made mention, you read about the National Assembly quizzing the Attorney General of
Malami, yes.
Malami.
Over
$2.4
billion alleged crude oil loss.
Yes. Now, in a system, Nigeria, unfortunately, we are not selling our markets very well. Corruption every angle of the nation. Now, just like what we are talking about the judges, we are talking about law, right? Corruption. Now, if you notice, if you can even imagine that the National Assembly that have plenty issues and cases on their heads are now calling the AGF, quizzing the AGF, pointing fingers to the AGF, that the AGF has matters to answer with the $2.4 billion missing funds. $1 billion, my brothers and my sisters. Now, you now ask, the same National Assembly that a sitting senator, a serving senator, was jailed. Yes, I was making points about judges. We still have some cool judges, but they are just few. Unfortunately, they are just few. Okay, for a sitting sitting senator to be sent to jail, and it's from my place, Delta State. That's Senator Wabushi. To be sent to jail for his own was that the case was that he was given a contract, and he wiped the money. Wiped the money. So just imagine if it were to be one of those judges. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
One of those judges that, and if you come to think of it, it is not the first time that it has happened in this country.
True.
So for that judge to also, kudos to such judges that will stand on their ground and do the needful. See, aside the issues that we are having in Nigeria, if we are to have strong legal system, my brother, this is a matter of corruption or no corruption. A judge will come out with vigor and preside on a matter the way it should be. Well, let's not do so much about that.
Okay.
Now,
back to the inauguration. Yeah.
To the inauguration and giving Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu one. He was given the highest honor in the land. That is GCFR.
Yes.
The Grand Commander of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I know the opposition will not be happy about that. But yeah, it has happened. And as it stands, we need to wish him good luck.
Yes.
Yeah, it's tough for some persons out there.
Yeah.
Some persons will say, this man is not my president. I totally understand. I understand the grievances in the hearts of Nigerians, especially one will say, yeah, the opposition, okay? But it's still not an easy road, okay? Embracing Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the president of this country.
Sure.
Why am I saying this, Mr. Bule? It is still unfair and highly unfair that after Buhari, we are getting almost the same. We are going to talk about the same matter. What matter am I talking about? The same matter that your president, our president, we don't know whether this president went to school or not. Our president, you cannot identify the president's classmates. In a country that we say that we are abiding by the rules. A president that you cannot, the document that he's showing you out there is Chicago. What then happened to your educational qualifications in Nigeria? Abule. What happens to you going to NYSC that everybody is going? What happened? Didn't you go to for NYSC? What happened? Yes. These are questions that should be answered.
Yes.
We should not hide this thing under the pillow. But it needs to be answered.
Well, but unfortunately, we are going to carry on with that inauguration on May 29th. Whether you accept the president or not, it's going to happen from the way it looks. Nothing is stopping them. The one thing that Nigerians thought, was going to stall the process was this case between the PDP and the double nomination of the vice presidential candidate, but that didn't happen. So, well, brace yourself for the inaugurations. All right, we're going on to our last paper for the day, and that will be Nigerian Tribune. And we have as headline here, what we will remember Buhari for. Nigerians speak. Lazy youths, longest ASU strike, Twitter ban, Naira to buy Naira, railway, border closure, banditry, second Niger bridge, a lot of negativity. But well, we carry on to other headlines here on the Nigerian Tribune, as the main headline says, I will not disappoint Nigerians. Tinubu. Buhari confers GCFR, GCON on him. Chetima. Find that story on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. We also see here, ASU, federal government releases white paper of visitation panels. Page 5 is where the story is. Kano government drops murder charges against Doguwa. You find that story on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. We also see here, what Tinubu must do on Shell's $3 billion deal. Planned pullout of Niger Delta. Amnesty International. Page 4 is where you get details of that story. Nigerian Airlines solicitors write Buhari want him to stop project. Stories on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. And lastly, I'll take this one. It says, Southern Middle Belt leaders restate position on fiscal federalism, insecurity, judiciary, orders. Page 2 is where you get details of the story. All right, the very first headline I read really made me feel like asking that same question to both of us. What will you remember Buhari for? I mean, in the past 8 years, we've had him as our president, our leader, and he's now leaving office. What will you remember him for within the last 8 years?
Okay, I will remember him as a president that brought about the second Niger bridge.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Okay, big kudos. You can't take it away from him.
Yeah.
I will also remember him for the president that brought back the railway system. I can't take it out from him. Yes, some person will be like, the southern part of the country, especially the southeast and the south side, do not feel the impact. Yeah. Okay. And one will be like, okay, where the money is really coming out from, that's the south side and the Niger Delta, which I represent. We are supposed to have our own line. Unfortunately, that did not happen. Yeah. But I'll also give kudos to him. We have the Lagos-Ibadan highway that has not been completed, but you can see the enormous work that has been done there. Yeah. Okay. That's for the positive side of him. And I will also give him some positive side when it comes about the Naira change. Okay. Unfortunately, the CBN and the federal government itself did not bring that to fruition, maybe because of they planned wrongly. Okay. And also give him big kudos to the Electoral Act 2022.
That he signed
that was super. That was super from the government. What about the Petroleum Industrial Bill? Sweet. But the problem with these bills, these acts, is that implementation will not be an issue.
True.
Okay. But aside that, I've mentioned the good part, right? Please. But aside that, let's not forget that it is in this regime that millions of Nigerians enter the poverty line. That over 100 million Nigerians are poor.
Yeah.
That in this regime that we have more mortality rates. It is in this regime that we had the highest number of traveling medical tourism by a president.
And the people jackpine from left to right.
Oh my goodness.
That is because, of course, we plunged into an invisible recession.
And for the first time in the history of maybe of an African nation or even a nation in the world, that a president will openly call the youth of his nation lazy Nigerian youths. It is this same dispensation.
Well,
and he did not ask for forgiveness. Because one might say that he's a proud president, unfortunately for him.
Oh,
he
well.
does not take corrections too.
He
A
doesn't.
president that will not calm down and say, see, my people, I know I've wronged you there, I know I've wronged you there, but never.
What?
He is going out selling his biography and autobiography, selling it well that, oh, he did his best, that he did it and did that. But see, go out to the street and ask questions. Are Nigerians happy? The answer is no.
Right.
Lastly, please, I know
Right.
I know you want to go, but what about the Doguwa case? Doguwa, the honorable minister. No. Honorable
House of Rep
Representatives.
member. And then that's a very interesting case. So I wanted to point that out, but it just skipped my mind. I wanted us to talk about that, but you can just briefly go over it though.
During the elections, he's representing Kano State in the House, okay? Now, during the election, there was this report, very strong report, that he and his supporters, in fact, he was the one that led his supporters to the NNPP secretariat in Tadua, one of those local governments in Kano State. And they burnt down the building, the secretariat, killing 5 persons. And the report said that he was seen with a shotgun. He was involved in the shooting. My brother, my sister, woman, what is happening? That the Kano State government
now
has
dropping charges.
delisted his name from suspects. He's now free.
That is Nigeria for you. And it's
free.
shocking. It's shocking.
And his supporters, those supporters are still going to be charged, are still going to the court. Then him that they are working for, or that they work for,
charges
the
have
charges has
been
been dropped against him.
I mean, this should be a big lesson to people that always go out to engage in violence. You know, whether the candidate you're, going out to fight for is on ground with you or not. Look at this case now. He has been exempted from the punishment, but his followers are still going to face the full wrath of the law. That's a very, very tricky one right there, and it should be a lesson to everyone. As for me, one of the things I will remember Buhari for is the fact that he is a president that has been very invincible the most for me. He's on ground, yet we don't hear him. 1 minute he's in the UK, another minute he's in Nigeria, and Nigeria is on fire, but he doesn't come out to address any matter. So that's one thing I remember Buhari for. It is even in this last few months of him leaving that he has been all over the place.
Because he wants to end where?
He has been talking a lot. But within the last 8 years, I can tell you that Buhari is one president that didn't talk to Nigerians so much. And I don't want to go any further, but if you're out there watching this, please drop your own comments as regards what you think you remember Buhari for. We want to hear that thing that you think you remember Buhari and the last 8 years for his administration. Drop it on the comment section. We'd love to hear. Thank you so much for staying with us, but this is where we're going to draw the curtains for today. Thank you, Victor, for all your wonderful analysis. Until next time, we'll come on the program again. My name is William Sabule, and this has been the Newspaper Review here on TAP TV.